guys, this is Taylor, and today I have for you a very special book haul. Basically, there's a really cool bookshop, or actually kind of a collection of bookshops, about an hour away from me. It's called the Book Barn in Niantic, Connecticut, and I have wanted to go there for years. I finally got the opportunity just a little bit ago. We spent the entire day in the Book Barn's 4 locations. I was very, very bad spending-wise, but honestly it was so worth it, and I am delighted with this haul that I got. But before I get straight into the haul, I want to show you some of the footage that I took from this place because it's such a cool location and it's completely unlike any other bookshop I've ever been to. So the principal location of the Book Barn is its namesake. It's a huge barn filled with books, and then there are several outbuildings that house specific genres and different types of nonfiction, and this is all located on a really beautifully cultivated piece of land that has a bunch of little benches and nooks where you can just kind of curl up. They also have goats on the property, and inside of all the buildings there are free-roaming cats. Somehow this really crappy shot is the only one that I got, sorry. But you could just tell that this was someone's vision that they had somehow made into a reality. The whole space just has such a character to it, and I'm so glad that I got to spend the whole day there. Like I said, there are also 3 separate locations that are all part of the same business. One just down the road from the barn, and 2 other ones in the more downtown area of Niantic. Every location was just a different magical experience, and now I'm gonna go ahead and show you everything that I got. I did make a very special, exciting purchase, but I'm gonna save the best for last. Oh, and I will say that because these books are all from used bookstores and you never really know what you're gonna find, some of these purchases may have been a little haphazard, just in that I maybe don't know as much about these books as I probably should, but regardless, I'm still very excited for all of these. So the first book that I picked up was The Bostonians by Henry James. Never read any Henry James, never really thought I would, but last month when I was reading Peter Ackroyd's Queer City, he mentioned that this features a couple of those historical female friendships that really might have been something other than friendship, and honestly I'm all about that, especially in a classic. I also picked up The Transition by Luke Kennard. I've seen this all around my library, but then again it has something like 500 ratings on Goodreads, so I don't really know what's going on there. This is a novel that is basically about a program that takes adults who are struggling financially and puts them in a 6-month program where they learn how to adult more effectively. But of course the program itself seems super shady, and it seems like from the back that this book is pretty satirical. Also, this is an advanced copy and the cover is so buttery soft. It's just delicious to hold. I also have Dear Life by Alice Munro. Alice Munro is a prolific short story writer, and this collection has been on my Amazon wishlist for eons. This will be my first collection by her, and I'm excited to start here. A really exciting find for me was The Pillow Book of Sei Shonagon. This is more or less the diary of a Japanese court lady from about 1,000 years ago, and from what I understand, this is basically the single best source that we have on what life in that time and place was even remotely like. And I guess even though she was never formally trained to be a writer, she had this very lively and humorous writing style. So I've always wanted to read this, and I was so happy to find a copy of it. This is The Yoga of Max's Discontent, and this was 100% a cover buy. I know absolutely nothing about this book. I should not have bought it, but here it is. On maybe a similar level of arbitrary buying habits, I also picked up The Northern Clemency by Philip Hensher. I do know 2 things about this though. 1, that it was shortlisted for the Man Booker Prize, and 2, that it has an asexual character, at least according to Goodreads. And as we can all surmise at this point, that's all I really need. I do know about this one, and this is Momenta Blues, and this is the memoir of Questlove from The Roots. And this is all about the music industry and just being in love with music seemingly on a different level than anybody else. And he's really one of those people who just seems like an encyclopedia for all things musical. So again, this has been on my wish list for years. I also picked up The Wangs vs. the World by Jade Chang. This was a pretty big release a couple years ago, and it's one that I just never got around to. This follows a once wealthy family of Chinese American immigrants who come to lose all of their wealth and then I think eventually probably come back together again. I was excited to find this, but then once I got everything back home and I was like logging everything into Goodreads, I noticed that every single person I'm friends with on Goodreads who read this rated it 3 stars. So I guess we'll just see with this one. I also found a copy of Love Medicine by Louise Erdrich, and the one single reason that I picked this up was one day I was working in the library and I was putting my books and I was in the middle of putting this back on a shelf, and a woman that I had never seen before and have never seen since came up to me and goes, "That is the best book that I've ever read in my entire life," and just walked away. So, I mean, I kind of had to. Next up I have Interpreter of Maladies by Jhumpa Lahiri. Picking this up seemed like the natural course of things, considering how much I loved The Namesake and just her writing style in general. This is her debut publication, I believe, and once again I've just never really heard anybody say anything bad about this, and now I'm inclined to believe them. These last 3 books are definitely the most exciting to me, just because I did not expect to find them in a used bookstore ever, especially in the condition that I found them in. The first of these is Ghosts of the Tsunami by Richard Lloyd Parry. I feel like this was one of the biggest nonfiction releases of the past year, and I never expected to find it looking so brand new and so gorgeous. This is of course about the 2011 earthquake and tsunami that devastated a big portion of Japan's northeast. I think this also incorporates elements of Japanese folklore in order to tell the story in a more culturally authentic way. Just very, very happy about this one. I also found a copy of Kurt Vonnegut's Wompeter's Foma and Grenfalloons in the ugly Vonnegut V editions that I love so much. Kind of like my struggle to collect Murakami in the just like one generation older editions. These were around in about the mid 2000s, and then they got an updated edition that I didn't like as much, but they share the ISBN with the updated edition. So it makes these kind of impossible to track down. But these are essays and opinions, I believe, and I'm just so happy to have found this. I could cry. And lastly is my big ticket item. This is definitely the most exciting purchase that I made from the Book Barn. I found a $20 box set of In Search of Lost Time by Marcel Proust, and I am shook. This is basically a 4,000-page novel, the first section of which is called Swan's Way, and it's totally not uncommon to find this. We have multiple copies of this at the library, but after Swan's Way, I just feel like it's not nearly as widely read, and I have literally never seen a box set of the entire thing. So I snatched it up. I have no idea when I'm actually going to read this. It's already making me a little nervous just sitting here, but oh my god, I'm just so happy. Not only with the Proust, but just with everything that I got. I hope you enjoyed this haul. I hope you enjoyed this little exposure to the Book Barn. And of course, I highly, highly recommend going if you ever remotely get the chance. It was a really magical place. But that's it. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!